Howdy everybody, BygPhattyPlus, and welcome back to the Big Man Plays The Longest Journey. Last left off, we entered the only Alatian city on Alace. And we gotta see the teller. Unfortunately, this bird brain here won't let us in until I tell him, until I answer some trivia questions about the four stories of the four corners of the world. So, yeah, I'm gonna study by asking for the answers.
Hi, Saina.
Hi, April.
You happen to know one of these four tales?
Do you know one of the four tales of winds, stars, sea, and homecoming?
And please tell me, please don't tell me.
Yes, my mommy taught me the tale of the stars. It's a really pretty story. Do you want me to tell it?
Yes!
Please,
Where's my
Saina,
note?
I would like that very much.
Where's my notes? Where's my notes?
Okay. This is my tale, the tale of stars, and I tell it to you in my own words, as it was told to me by my teacher in her words.
Just
In
get
the
it.
small village of Jinjay near the rumbling hills of Onion, there lived a girl called Mona. She was a curious girl, and she would always get in the way of grown Alatian. Go play somewhere else, they would say to Mona. But she didn't want to play with the other children. She wanted to be where the grown-ups were, to see what they were doing, and learn from them. But one day, after getting many complaints from the pottery makers and guardsmen and traders and soldiers in the village, Mona's mother told her that she wasn't to interfere with the grown-ups anymore,
Oh, that's not nice.
and that instead she could go play with the other children, or sit still and draw or work with clay. But Mona was always curious, and now, since she wasn't to be among the grown Alatian anymore, she decided to go exploring the forest that lay just outside of the village of Jinjay. She had many times been forbidden to enter the forest because it could be a dangerous place, but Mona was very curious.
And you told her she couldn't stay with the... Whoops.
Of course she wasn't planning on going far into the forest, but then her eye caught sight of a white flufftail hopping through the tall grass, and Mona, curious as ever, gave chase. The flufftail ran away into the forest, and Mona followed, blind to where she was going, and interested only in catching the white flufftail so that she could keep it as a pet.
Bunny.
But then, after a good while, the flufftail disappeared into a hole in the ground, leaving Mona alone in a small clearing, somewhere deep inside the forest.
Please don't tell me this ends with her getting
She was
eaten.
exhausted after running after the flufftail for so long, and as she looked around the clearing at the unfamiliar trees and flowers, she realized that she hadn't been paying attention to where she was going.
She got lost.
Not for the first time, her curiosity had gotten the better of her, but this time it was serious. Mona was too young to fly, and she had very little sense of direction, and chasing the white flufftail had made her dizzy and tired.
Oh, okay.
It was getting darker, and Mona was all alone in the deep, dangerous forest, too sleepy and too scared to be able to go anywhere. Mona curled up with her wings wrapped around her under the leaves of a tree and began crying. Soon it got really dark, and somewhere, not far away, wolves started howling at the moon. Mona was so scared, she was petrified, but after a while her exhaustion got the better of her, and she fell asleep. She woke up when she heard a voice calling her from somewhere far above. Looking up at the starry sky, Mona saw a vision of the spirits of 5 tellers gazing down at her.
Okay, so
You
she
have
had...
let your curiosity lead you astray, said one. You are lost, and you deserve to be lost, said another.
That was not the
Poor
nice
little
one.
girl, said a third. We will help you home, said a fourth.
Good.
But remember this, said the 5th spirit. We will lead you back to your village and to your mother only if you promise us one thing. I promise, said Mona. Whatever it is, I promise I will do it. Very well, said the 1st spirit. You will make the story of this night into your own tale, and you will call it the Tale of Stars. It will be a tale to warn the curious to be careful, continued the 3rd spirit, and to not let their curiosity get the better of them. And, said the 2nd spirit, to remind the Alatian that the spirits of their tellers watch out for them when they most need it. And so the spirits of the 5 tellers guided Mona through the forest, and by dawn she was home. And Mona did tell her tale, the tale of stars, to everyone in the village, so that everyone would remember that the curious must be cautious, and that the spirits of the tellers are always watching. This was my tale, the tale of stars, and I told it in my own words as my teacher did to me.
That was a beautiful tale, Saina.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Saina.
You're leaving again? I wish you could stay.
I'm very busy.
Me too, Saina, believe me.
All right. Now we got. Let's see here. I hate to bother you, but could you tell me a tale?
Hi, Mima.
Hi, April.
Do you know one of the tales? You're probably going to know about the winds.
Do you know one of the 4
Or the
tales
sea.
of winds, stars, sea, and homecoming?
I had to learn the tale of homecoming. It took a long time, but I think I got it now. I'm better with pottery than I am with the tales, unfortunately. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please. I need to study.
Please.
I need to study.
Very well. This is the tale of homecoming, my tale, and I shall tell it in my own words, as told to me by my teacher, in
Oh,
her
boy.
words, and by her teacher in turn. Moran was a handsome young Alatian man with strong wings and a hardy beak. He lived below the white cliffs, where the water was salty and the fish plentiful. Moran was betrothed to Inara, the loveliest girl there ever was. She was fair and slender and tall, and her eyes were the clearest shade of blue. But Moran was hesitant to enter into union with Inara, to become her husband and to give her children. He would always come up with a new excuse for why they had to wait a little while longer.
Oh boy, he got cold
Now,
feet.
Inara was skilled at pottery, but even more so with stories. And the teller of the village had many times asked Inara to be her apprentice, to learn all the tales, so that someday she could take over as the teller. But Inara refused, knowing that if she did accept the teller's offer, she would never be able to marry Moran, because a teller cannot have a husband nor children of her own.
Well, that sucks.
Her refusal to become the teller's apprentice was unheard of, because who could refuse such an honor? But to Inara, love was more important. Her love for Moran was beyond honor, beyond reason. But despite Inara's love, Moran was still hesitant. And then one day he told Inara, "I am traveling on a pilgrimage to the far shores. I will be gone for some time, and while I am traveling, and in accordance with our traditions, I will be freed from our betrothal. Not until I come back will the bond between us be renewed." It was not unusual for a young Alatian man at that time to go on a pilgrimage, and the bond between the betrothed would often be cut while he was away, to be formed again upon his return. But Inara was heartbroken, because she had thought that Moran would soon want to marry her. When Moran saw her tears, he said to her, "Do not weep. When I come back, I promise I will marry you. Just wait for me, and stay with your pots, to make the time pass quickly." And then Moran left on his pilgrimage to the far shores.
And he never came back, I'm guessing.
Many years went by, and Moran had exciting adventures on the far shores. But by and by, he began to long for home, and for Inara. And now he had finally realized that he loved her, and that he wanted to marry her. But when he returned, he could not find Inara amongst the pot makers. He went to visit her family, and they told him that, after waiting for many years, Inara accepted the teller's offer of apprenticeship. And that when the teller left on the last wind during the previous winter, Inara herself became the new teller. Angry, Moran made his way to the teller's nest, and when he saw Inara, he said to her, "You promised me you would wait." But Inara did not say a single word in answer. She just turned around and lifted something wrapped in leaves from the cot behind her and gave it to Moran. Moran unwrapped the package, and inside he found an old pot, cracked and broken in two.
Oops.
"What is this pot?" he asked. "And why did you not wait for me like I asked you to?" And finally Inara spoke, and she said to Moran, "I made this pot for you, my dear Moran, when you left, because I wanted it to be my marriage gift to you. But when many, many years passed, I finally realized that you did not love me the way I loved you, and to live hoping otherwise would be death.
Oof.
But I want to marry you, cried Moran.
You
I
waited
came
too long.
back. But Anara just nodded at the broken pot in Moran's hands and said, like an old pot that is left without care, a heart may break in two, and a broken heart can never be mended. And so Anara turned away, never to speak with Moran again, and Moran's heart, like the pot that was left untended, broke in two, because absence makes a heart brittle. This was the tale of homecoming, my tale, and I told it in my own words as told to me by my teacher, and as I will tell it to my student when the time comes.
Bye, Nima.
Thank you.
Goodbye, April.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm going to save because I don't want to have to do that again. I guess I say the apps make the heart grow fonder ain't always the case. Just, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go over and talk to this old man right over. This old man. They're all birds. This old bird right over here. Hey, man, how you
Look
doing?
like a real sailor. Arr, matey.
Could you please stop saying that? Man, you wouldn't have no of a tale,
Do
would
you
you?
know one of the 4 tales of
Thank
winds,
you.
stars, sea, and homecoming?
Yes, let's listen.
Mine is the tale of sea, human.
Of course it is.
Would you mind telling it to me?
Sure, I got my notes
I
ready.
would be happy to do so. This is the tale of sea, told in my own words, as it was told to me by my teacher in his words, and to him by his teacher in his words.
Oh, you always gotta say
This
that?
was a very, very long time ago, when the Alatian were a strong people, and we could spend days riding the hot winds above the seas. We hunted fish then, and we were at war with the Merum,
Aha!
Birdtales. Achilles was one of the strongest warriors there was. His claws were sharp and long, his beak pointy, and his teeth strong. Achilles was admired by everyone in his clan, and because of this he was cocky and arrogant. So one day, the teller of Achilles' city asked him to perform a very important and very special duty, to bring a sacred jewel to the teller of an Alatian town across the sea.
Okay.
This particular jewel was very important because it signified a union between the two towns.
Ho, ho,
And
ho!
it would benefit the people of both that it was delivered safely and promptly. Achilles grinned and told the teller that he would deliver the jewel both quickly and safely, and that she was not to worry.
Uh-huh.
But the teller did worry, because Achilles was young and too sure of himself.
Yep.
But she wanted to test him, and to teach him that sharp claws, a pointy beak, and strong teeth are not all a warrior needs. That a warrior must also be wise and
And he
careful.
wasn't. And he wasn't.
So Achilles set out across the sea on his flight. It was on the 4th day that he spotted something in the water that caught his attention. And forgetting his duty and following his curiosity, Achilles dived towards the water to investigate. When he came closer, he saw that there were Merum in the water, foolishly hunting close to the surface, and Achilles saw
Of
an
course.
opportunity to again prove his might as a great warrior to his people, and to capture the fins of a few wet-tails. But this time, Achilles' arrogance got the better of him, because the Merum had set a trap.
Uh-huh.
As he dived towards the Merum with his claws, a spear shot up from the water to hit him. Achilles struck the water and dropped the jewel he was carrying, and it was all he could do not to drown. Achilles was bleeding, and the Merum were grabbing onto his wings and his legs, but he fought bravely, and finally he managed to escape. But even though he now lived, he was dead inside. because the shame of losing the sacred jewel would always be with him.
Of course, because he got...
Carlos could not return to his village because he had neglected his duty to his teller and to his people. And so he went away to a small island where he could be alone.
Uh-huh.
To himself and his people, Carlos now became the lost one. He who had been on a sacred mission but had failed in his arrogance. A year passed, and one day Carlos met with human traders from a ship that came close to his island. From the traders, Carlos heard speak of a hideous creature that lived in the sea, the Octowo.
The what?
The Octowo was said to have a third eye, like a jewel, and that this eye pulled hapless sailors into its deadly eight-armed grasp.
Octowo.
Carlos knew immediately that the Octowo's third eye had to be the jewel that he lost in the sea a year ago, and he now saw the opportunity to redeem himself. But Alatian were not used to water, and the thought of submerging himself in the cold, harsh ocean chilled Carlos to his heart. But he was the lost one, and if in his death he could at the very least redeem himself, to his own heart then it would be worth it. So Carlos fashioned himself a spear, because in the water his claws and his beak would be too slow, and he flew out to where the Octowo was last seen. And then Carlos dived into the sea. The dark water closed in on him, and his wings and legs went numb. But still Carlos kept pushing down until he saw the lair of the Octowo.
Okay.
Spotting Carlos, the Octowo attacked, and Carlos saw the monster's third eye, his sacred jewel, shining bright in the darkness, and his heart was filled with a sense of duty and courage that he had never felt before.
He's gonna get killed, isn't he?
But as he began fighting the eight-armed monster, Carlos realized that if he were to fight like he usually did, he would not stand a chance. He would have to think differently. And so Carlos tricked the Octowo into following him through a tight chasm where the monster got stuck. And then he swam above it, and using his spear, tipped a rock on top of the Octowo.
Oh, smart.
Swimming back down again, the Octowo was flailing helplessly. Now, almost out of air, Carlos took the sacred jewel from the Octowo's head and swam back up. Finally, Carlos could deliver the sacred jewel to the town across the sea. And upon returning to his village, he went to the teller, bowed his head, and said,
I screwed up?
"Forgive me, teller, for in my arrogance I thought I could do everything. But I could not, and I became the lost one because of it." "You were lost," said the teller, "but you are no more. Because now you see the limits of your own strength, and you will know that a warrior must be careful and wise, in addition to being strong and fierce." This was the tale of C, and I told it in my own words, as told to me by my teacher.
Thank you. Now I just gotta go talk to the last schmuck. And also ask him about, hey, my man, how you doing? Don't. My man, first of all.
So, Isan, that's your name, isn't it?
Yes, Isan of Tamar.
A good-looking guy like you must get a lot of attention from the girls, right?
Man.
No. Are you asking me for courtship?
No.
No. Wings don't do anything for me. No, I was just thinking, maybe you had your eye out for somebody special?
Mm-hmm.
I'm without a mate. The women of Tamar are cold and unfriendly, and whenever I try to talk to one of them, she ignores me.
Oh, really?
Huh. Even Nima?
Nima? No, she's too pretty for me. She won't appreciate my attention.
This is like high school. Trust me, Isam. You go talk to her one of these days, and I'm sure you'll find you have a lot in common. Just be yourself, okay?
You think so? Perhaps you are right. I will do as you say, Windbringer. Thank you.
No problem, Bob. Now that I helped you with that, could you tell me if you happen to have a story?
Do you know one of the 4 tales of winds, stars, sea, and homecoming?
Yes.
Mine is the tale of winds, Windbringer.
Of course it is.
Do you wish to hear it?
Yes.
Very much.
Then I shall tell it.
I'm taking
This
notes.
is the tale of winds, my tale, and I pledge to tell it in my own words, as told in turn by my teacher. In the village of Karan, in the mountains of tall winds, there lived a young Alatian woman named Iwana. Iwana had one desire above all others, to soar higher and farther than anyone else. And even though her wings were no broader, nor her body sleeker than anyone else's, she pursued this foolish desire without rest. And as time passed, she did soar higher, and she did fly farther than the other young Alatian in her village, and her name became known far and wide amongst the tribes of the mountains of tall winds. But still, Iwana was not happy.
She did not high enough.
She was not happy because, in her vanity, even though she was a better flyer than almost everyone else, and to her eyes, she was still not good enough. She wanted to be so much better than anyone else that she would be remembered for all time as the best flyer amongst all the Alatian.
Of course.
And so one day, Iwana decided to climb to the top of Mount Bakta'ana, the Tower of Light, and to soar from those giddy heights to the ends of the world.
Nope.
Her friends and her family pleaded with her not to, because every Alatian knew that to soar from such heights was dangerous. That at such heights the air was thin and the winds treacherous.
In other words, you ain't ready.
Iwana would not listen, and on a cold and clear morning she climbed up the Tower of Light to the rock and the ice at the very top. From there she could see to the ends of the world. And it brought tears to her eyes to know that now, finally, she would be greater and better than any Alatian before her. And so Iwana spread her wings and leaped off the mountain. Those who watched her from far below said that for a split moment Iwana soared, and she soared higher and farther than any Alatian before or since. But then the treacherous winds caught a hold of her. And the thin air made her plummet towards the ground, and to fall to her death amongst the rocks at the base of the mountain. In her vanity, Iwana could not see beyond her desire to be the very best. And vanity always stands to fall. That was the tale of winds, my tale, and I told it in my own words, as told to me in turn by my teacher.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I have a test to take. Okay, so don't go wandering where you shouldn't be. Don't leave your loving hanging. Don't be fighting when you know you can't, and don't be flying when you know you can't. Okay, simple as that. We got that. We got that. All right, my man. You got to test me. We're gonna take this test. We're gonna take this test now. I'm gonna get it right.
Who would visit the teller?
Me.
Are you ready for the questions now?
Yes.
Yes, ask me the questions.
Yeah, I'm ready to take this test,
In the tale
Mr.
of
Birdman.
winds, which mountain did Iwana fall from in her vain attempt to fly higher and further than anyone else?
I'm so glad I took notes. Mount Everest, Mount Kilimanjaro. Really, Gabe? You gonna make the test that easy for me? You gonna make the test that easy for me? That easy? That I can just Mount Bakta'ana, the Tower of Light.
Mount Bakta'ana, the Tower of Light.
Make that guess.
That is correct. In the tale of stars, What did Mona see in the sky that helped her find her way home?
The old tellers. Stars, an airplane, the spirits of 5 tellers.
The spirits of 5 tellers.
That is correct. In the tale of C, what creature did the lost one battle in his quest to recover the sacred jewel?
A snapjaw, one of the Merum, the Octawoo.
The Octawo?
That is correct. My final question to you is this. In the tale of Homecoming, what was given to Moran by his teller when he returned from his pilgrimage?
I don't even need the notes. A kiss, a broken pot, teach him absence may break a heart in two, so know what your butt need to not leave nowhere.
A broken pot, to teach him that absence may break a heart in two.
You have correctly answered all my questions, and so have proven your knowledge of the 4 tales. You are the Windbringer. The teller would see you presently.
Thank you, sucker! I probably could have just taken the test straight away and probably would have gotten it on the first dang try. I probably would have gotten it on the first try. Did I save? I'm going to save again just because. I probably would have gotten it because those just... Oh! I forgot to tell her. I forgot to tell her. If I can. Hey, I told him. Nama, whatever your name is.
Hi, Nima.
Nima.
Hi, April.
Bye.
Bye, Nima.
Goodbye, April.
Hi, bye. Oh, man, I wanted to tell her. I wanted to say, hey, he's looking for you now, child. Okay, fine, whatever. So, we took our quiz and passed it with flying colors. I think only a moron would have failed that quiz. Shut up, text. But what kind of words are we going to have with the teller? And are we going to get another piece? And and is the ensuing meeting between the Alatians, the birds and the bird people, the ensuing meeting that's going to happen? Sorry, I'm tired. Is that peace signing going to be good, or is it going to crumble like every frickin' peace accord that happens in the world today? Find out next time on The Big Man Plays The Longest Journey. Until next, BygPhattyPlus, sayonara. And I know he's not. I know he's not here no more. And I know there's no way that, there is, because we're way in the future at this point. But could anyone summon the spirit of Henry Kissinger? Please, I think I might need him for this peace summit. Please, someone get a Ouija board. Henry Kissinger.